We're doing 26 real estate tips, not to be confused with 25 real estate tips that we already did. You don't know what you don't know, and it's better that you know or have an advocate that does know through either experience or through training. And I'm going to give you negotiating tips, buyer tips, seller tips, and general observations. This one has 15 buyer tips and 10 seller tips. And like I said, don't confuse this with the 25 real estate tips. This is 26 real estate tips. In no particular order, never counter an offer in writing. In negotiations, never send back a signed contract with initial changes unless it's the final copy for the buyer. You may get another offer in the meantime, and that offer that you've signed or initial changes is sitting out there, and that could cause you a headache. Use a local realtor. Where are the sewage treatment facilities? Which way is the wind blowing? You'll know if you're downwind. Same thing with the dump. There's a couple of neighborhoods going up that are downwind if the wind is blowing from the north that are going to be horrible to live in. And if you go there when the wind is blowing in a different direction without a local realtor, you may not know. What is the county's 10-year plan for the area? What are the traffic and access issues? How can you count on a realtor to tell you what's going on around the property if they're not local? Strategy for pictures. Now, I hear a lot of realtors saying, oh, we take professional pictures. And I got to tell you, I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't agree with it, certainly. You're going to have two responses when you go into a house. Either they're going to say, wow, this house is better than the pictures, or they're going to say, hey, this house is terrible. Those pictures, you got to start asking yourself, well, I wonder what kind of camera that was to make this house look so good when it isn't so good. And you can use pictures to influence your buyer's perceptions. Do you want the buyer to be happily surprised, or do you want them to be disappointed? And I can talk about this. So if you are looking at listing a house, look, if it's a $3 million house with all the amenities, absolutely get the best pictures you can. But if you're selling a home that's in the middle of the bell curve, and if you watch my videos, you know I'm all about talking about medium prices and talking about competing with the other actives, and having them come in and become disappointed because the house was hyped because of professional pictures is not going to get you where you want to go. And by the way, having no strategy is not a strategy. All right, FHA loans, VA loans, and USDA loans are assumable. Now, generally speaking, FDA and VA and USDA buyers don't have a lot of cash, and that's why they're going. But these government programs are assumable. So if you say you have a, $300,000 home and you owe $200,000 on it at 2.5%, that mortgage could be worth $25,000 or $35,000 to the right buyer. It's just all about the cost of capital, the cost of money. Unfortunately, this strategy really doesn't work for people who only have the minimum down payment. But if you're a cash buyer and you've got 300 grand, I'm going to ask you, how much 2.5% money would you take if I could get it for you? Now, the answer for anybody that understands money is I'll take $1 million. But how about $200,000 on an assumable FHA mortgage, where your payment is going to be based on a 2.5% mortgage? It's going to cost you 100 grand down to do it in this illustration. But FHA loans are assumable, and it's a strategy. And if you're a seller and you understand this and you want to try to get a premium for your home, one way would be to monetize the value of your assumable mortgage. Calling the county. I can't tell you how many times the county has given out information that subsequently was not verified by the actions of the county. There are quite a few departments with the county that deal with real estate, and a smart realtor will not call the county for you. You might get information that is not correct, and it's possible that you'll take actions based on what the county tells you. And that's why you always want to send it to them in writing on an email and get the answer back in writing. Listing mistakes. Oh, Lord, how many times have I talked about this? I have a video selling your home and the mistakes that people make. Just a few of them: overpricing them and then lowering the price too slowly, bad words in a real estate. Watch my video. Professional pictures that mask a home's true condition. Anything that says buyer to verify, in my opinion, is listing malpractice. It's You get 100 realtors looking at a property, and every one of them is going to go and call the homeowners association to verify the deed or the pet restrictions. I'm telling you, if it says buyer to verify on your listing, then when that listing expires and you ponder why you didn't get more action, if it says buyer to verify, I assure you there was something there. All right, pricing the home based on value versus based on the competition. I did an extensive video on this. If there's 27 homes, and I use 27 because that's what recently occurred. If there's 27 homes on the list and yours is the most expensive, then there's 26 options for buyers that fit your criteria to buy a home before they buy theirs. And it's not what the home is worth that determines the value. It's the buyers that determine the value. And I'm sure any realtors who are watching this might want to argue that. And if you're a realtor, don't watch my videos. All right, Zillow. Zillow is the greatest. Zillow is not your friend. Zillow is my friend. I've been a Zillow Premier agent for 15 years. I get a lot of leads from Zillow. Zillow gets buyers, but Zillow is not there for you if you're a buyer. Zillow sells leads to realtors. And the more incorrect information that they have, the more calls they get. And they're charging $35 every time you call a Zillow realtor. Short-term rentals may not be illegal, but if you do it more than 3 times a year, they can be. In Pasco County, and I am Mr. Pasco, you can rent your home out 3 times a year for less than 30 days. So if someone does it 4 times a year, it is illegal. It's a violation of the of code enforcement, the land use rules. And if you go to my website, 409home.com/vacation rentals, you can actually read the law. The challenge with short-term rentals is that you must collect sales tax and motel tax. Sales tax is a federally mandated, and if you don't collect sales tax, did I say federally mandated? It's state mandated. If you have a sales tax number, you have to file sales tax every month, even if you don't collect any sales tax, and that is a 3rd-degree misdemeanor. Contact your lawyer for details. Condominiums. Condominiums are scary. When you say condo, I say villa. When you say condo, I say townhouse. The condo boards and condo rules are restraints. There's deed restrictions. There's something we call condo commandos, which I spelt wrong and I just corrected. After years of not maintaining reserves, condominiums are required to maintain the reserves, and I hear it's even a misdemeanor if you are on a condo board and you don't require the condominium to maintain their reserves. You probably heard about the condo that fell in Sunrise, Florida, and it was crushing, and it's going to change the state of condominiums. Personally, I live in a condo. My payment went from $350 on the condominium fee to $815. But the view I have, I'm not leaving. When you put a home up for sale, you are likely that you're going to get multiple offers right away from investors. They're low ball offers. I don't know what they are, but they're not real in terms of what most sellers are going to accept. 100% of sellers want more than their home is worth. So you list your $400,000 house and you get all of these $280,000 offers, and customers sellers do not want to be insulted. So on all of my listings, I recommend Realtor to withhold lowball offers. There's no reason for me to have to call you and tell you, oh, a 275 came in on your $400,000. Oh, you got a 295. Oh, you got a 290. I mean, realtors are required to present all offers unless they have in writing that they're not required to. So for me, I recommend I withhold the lowball offers and I withhold the verbal offers. How to talk to a realtor when buying. So all the realtors are going to say, can I see your pre-approval? I want to see your pre-approval. I want to see your pre-approval before I show you the house. The reason is that a lot of people aren't pre-approved. They're never going to be pre-approved. They've got to go through credit counseling. They don't have a down payment. They want to go shopping to see what's out there, and then they want to decide if they want to get a pre-approval. And most realtors are not going to be happy with that. For me, it's not just about knowing the purchasing power, but that is to confirm that they're FHA or VA or USDA. But FHA primarily is your first-time home buyer program, and FHA buyers are sort of somewhat discriminated against because sellers don't want to go FHA. They don't want to have to pass the inspections. FHA buyers are the higher risk borrowers, and they're the most likely to have problems. So if somebody's coming in with a conventional offer and they're putting down 20 or 25%, it's a stronger buyer. Anyway, I wrote down here, buyers agents are vulnerable because they may be going to the way of independent travel agents and commission-paid stockbrokers. Realtors are vulnerable and they need a hug. Not me, but a lot of them. How to shop for a home. This one I've discussed on a few of my videos. I hear people, well, I'm watching Zillow, so I'm following the market. And no, you are not following the market. The only way to follow the market is to watch the solds in your criteria. Zillow and all active listings are the overpriced dreams of a seller trying to get the most money for their home. The number of people that want more money for their home is 100%. The market is not the active listing. The market is not the actives or the active listings. The market is the solds. And to get the solds, you need to get an email updating your criteria and what's happening in your market in that criteria on the solds. In stocks and fantasy football and fantasy sports, you watch the results. You watch last week, the week before, the week before, as you should do so in real estate. The results are the solds. You can't watch the market by the actives. Auction properties are sold without clean title. I participated on a few or 500 auctions on the real estate auctions over the years, and I've seen, I don't know, dozens or even hundreds of people make mistakes. I even had a lady call me up. I guess one of the local attorneys recommended me to help her learn about auctions, and I gave her a price for my training, and she didn't take me up on my offer. Subsequently, she bought 2 homeowners association liens that had mortgages, and she lost 100% of her money. And I called her and I said, hey, what you doing? And she said, I just, I didn't want to do the training, so I just started buying houses. And anyway, she lost all her money, and I can tell you stories that are horrifying. Flood zones expand. Okay, flood zones are created by FEMA. FEMA is responsible for disaster relief, preparedness, mitigation, public education, and coordination. And part of what they do is they look at the changing floodplains. And if you're on the border of a flood zone today, you might be in that flood zone tomorrow. And I look at, flood zones are certainly about location, but they're really about elevation. Right now, 16 feet or so is the flood mark. So if you're at 12 feet, then you're in a flood zone. And if you're at 16 and a half feet, you may be in a flood zone as FEMA's flood zones expand. Mobile homes became the newest cheap way to get housing. There are a lot of issues with mobile homes: tie downs, vapor barriers, polybutylene, shorter lifespan, resale challenges, uh, uh, zoning and regulations, tornadoes, wells, and septic tanks. If you're buying a mobile home, then you want to be aware that there's a lot of issues that don't apply to regular homes. Vacant land, paved road versus unpaved roads. If you saw my video on vacant land, you know that unpaved roads mean future paving liens. If you don't know what a paving lien is, it's the county does not pave the roads. Well, they do pave the roads in terms of coordinating the paving, but they don't pay for it. The people on each side of the road pay for those for that road. In vacant land, we have surveys and fencing and zoning and utilities and infrastructure, environmental factors, permits and regulations, market trends and future developments. What's the 10-year plan? If you're developing a neighborhood, are there utilities? Is there water? Is there power? Is it, how far away is it? Anyway, vacant land. All right, back to negotiating. Never accept the first offer. So you're asking 200 grand and they offer you $197,500 and you think, "Man, I could accept that." If you accept what they offer, they're going to think they offered too much. So always counter, even if you're just countering on a shortened inspection period or an earlier closing date. Never accept the first offer. Now, you can counter them and have them say no and then accept it. But you're going to give the buyer buyer's remorse. They're always going to think they offer too much if you accept the first offer. Now, realtors have a number of obligations, including loyalty and confidentiality, unless they get permission from the seller. And I always explain to my listings, to my sellers, that I would like to be able to use my negotiating skills to induce higher offers. For example, I had a property recently. I had over 40 offers, and in my listing it said I am to withhold lowball offers, and that I can tell other offers. I mean, I can tell if a buyer comes in, I can tell them about other offers. Here's the deal: the house is $200,000. You're getting offers around $175,000. I don't need another $175,000. If I tell them, "Hey, we turned down 190," now I've got an opportunity for that buyer to say, "Well, I'll give you 191." And from there, if it's not accepted, I can then tell the next offer, "Hey, we turned down 191." Now, if the next offer says I'll go to 192, and it's still rejected, I can go back to the first 191 and say, "Hey, I have a 191. Would you care to go to 193? And if you read about round robin auctions, you can understand what this is about. But realtors don't have the ability to do round robin auction type of negotiations without permission from their sellers. And a lot of realtors are just adamant about not disclosing other offers. And for me, I've sold over 600 houses personally, and I do not need to have a whole bunch of buyers and buyers agents running around offering 175,000 when I've turned down 190. You can buy a home with bad title. Actually, you probably shouldn't buy one, and any attorney or a real estate agent will tell you not to buy bad title, but you can. Sometimes bad title the liens will drop off over the years, and some title issues can be dealt with by doing what's called a quiet title foreclosure. And I bring this up because if you have a property with bad title, please give me a call. Generally, the seller gets a worse deal, and me as a buyer, I get a better deal if I can buy a home with bad title. Don't buy a home if you have collections on your name. People may not understand that title issues on a property, unless it's a county lien, or a homeowners association lien, you can't look it up and see that there's other liens that are attached to a home. You actually have to search the seller. And when you buy a home, the title company will research the buyer to make sure there's no collections, because those collections will attach to any real property if you put real property in your name. You don't want to learn this mistake the hard way. If you do accidentally put property in your name when you have a judgment against you, you will have to do a quiet title to get those judgments removed. Actually, you as the owner of the property cannot get those judgments removed, actually, but if someone subsequently takes the property over, then there is an opportunity to clear up that title by doing a quiet title, or that could attach and you can't get it off. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't take a quit claim deed. Title policies must be issued 5 days before closing. They're very complicated and they're very confusing. And they give you these lists of issues without explanation. And some of them aren't issues, but some of them are. You need to ask the title agent to explain what you don't understand. You need to ask an attorney. The realtor can give you some generic explanations of some of the issues, but can't give you an opinion about them. And one of the things on there, if you read the contract, it says that you must respond in writing to sellers if you want to object to title concerns. And this in theory should not come up with when you're using a title company. Of course, it doesn't come up until it does, and I had it come up recently, and oh dear. All right, the realtor lawsuit. So the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and the Department of Justice proved that if you put a big fat commission on your home, more realtors will sell your home. And though you won't see it in context with the Department of Justice or the National Association of Realtors deals, National Association of Realtors, it is a interesting phenomena that higher priced commissions on homes seem to get the most action and sell the quickest. Isn't that interesting? So as far as buyers are concerned, you really don't have to worry about the changes that are going to occur. You will after July 1st, or I think maybe they moved that back actually in the latest round of discussion, but there's going to be a point where realtors will not be able to show you a house unless you sign a buyer's agency agreement. And I can spend a lot of time talking about that. And if you want to talk about it, just call me. Home inspections are an opportunity to get a price reduction, repairs, or concessions. The inspector will find issues, and they will find issues in new construction, and who knows, maybe a lot of issues depending on the builder. If a home inspector can't find something wrong, they will break something so they can put it on the report. Not really. I mean, not in theory. But I did have a home once that had unbelievable, everything was perfect. So they took a screwdriver and they banged it in the baseboards, trying to find a wood rot in the baseboards. And instead, they got to put down screwdriver holes in baseboards. Also, this is a great opportunity to get out of the contract. All right, non-responses in negotiations is a response, and I am the king of non-responses. And if you're a realtor and you're watching this, and if we've negotiated before, you gotta hate me, because a non-response is a good way to show that the offer is unacceptable. It'll also put into the mind of the offerer, the buyer, that you're not going to negotiate. And I get a lot of it. Oh, I know this offer's really low. Please, we're just looking for a counter. Well, you're not getting one. If you don't counter, and there are no rules, but if I'm asking $350,000 and you offer me $275, and you think I'm going to counter you at $312 in the middle, you're dreaming. Maybe you offer $325 on my $350 house. Maybe I counter at $347 or something, but I'm not countering when you come in 35% below the asking price. There are 72 ways to sell a home. Google it. Right now in this market, you put it on Facebook Marketplace, you put it on Craigslist, you do some local advertising. You don't need to do target marketing. I mean, it works in theory. Every door direct mail, they work. Is the extra cost worth it? How many people decided to buy a home because they got a postcard? Maybe they did, but the strength of MLS right now is that MLS puts that property on Trulia and Zillow and Yahoo Real Estate and 1,000 websites pick it up. So if you've got an overpriced listing and you think that superior marketing is going to find a buyer that's going to pay you more than it's worth, please do not call me. I am not your realtor. Houses sell based on buyers' behaviors. And look, if anybody can sell your house for more than it's worth, I can. But it's not going to praise, find a cash buyer. Well, cash buyers are smart. That's how they got the cash. And if you think a cash buyer is going to pay you more than your house is worth, then I am not your realtor. All right, for sale versus on sale versus price to sale. 25% of the homes on the market are priced 30% too high. These homes are for sale. And you know what? It might be that it's 30% of the houses are priced 25% too high. It might be 30% are priced 30% too high. The ones on sale you'll see go pending in 7 to 10 days. And if you hook up with me and you show me your criteria, and I spend a lot of time talking about the pendings and the solds and the days on market, it's because buyers determine the price. Price to sell homes are homes that went pending in 1 to 3 days. And sometimes they go under contract in 0 days. The question really is, do you want to sell your home or do you want to list your home? I think we're on our last one. Mortgage broker pre-approval is not a final. Mortgage brokers, and I am a licensed mortgage loan officer, but they've been known to throw stuff at the wall. Everybody gets a pre-approval with Randy. That's not true, by the way. But the way that some of these pre-approvals come out, and they haven't done any pre-screening of these applicants, you need to have that pre-approval to get an offer. But if you're a seller, then when you get an offer, you want that realtor to call that mortgage broker and find out, have you collected any documents? Have you looked at their income? Have you seen tax returns? What is going on? Is this real? Are you throwing stuff at the wall? Hey, I'm Randal Jenkins. I own Florida Real Estate Partners. I put out free real estate content. This is 28 minutes long, which means that nobody is still watching. So that means I can do anything I want to, I'm a rock star.